Hello everyone, Key of W here with more Gemcraft Chasing Shadows. This is part 2, I guess. Part 1 was a lot of tutorial, a lot of autistic info dumping, and I hope you liked that because this is going to be more of the same. There's a lot more to cover here as we head into the next level. So I have two options. I have F4 and F5. For a number of reasons, we're going to go to F5 next. One of them is that there are fewer waves, 11 waves versus 16, and a lot of the difficulty in the game comes from levels with large amount of waves. Because with only 3 waves in this first level, the game doesn't have enough time to increase the enemy's statistics to make them difficult. So even though both of these start with waves at 11 HP, which is pathetic, by the end of this level, they're not going to be that hard. By the end of this level, they will. It's still beatable. I could still beat this level. It's not like crazy hard, but I'm going to take care of the easier ones first. I'm also going to do this one because it gives us access to a new gem type. We've seen 6. This one has the cyan gem, which we haven't seen. It's the 7th of 7 gem types. Well, there's 9 gem types in the game, but there's 7 common gem types, 7 non-bound gems. This is our final one. Let's down here, level 4 wizard, 54 per minute initial mana replenish rate. That's fine. Let's take a look at this level. We're going to take a look at our new gem type. Amplifiers. Gems socketed in amplifiers don't shoot, but boost gems in adjacent towers and traps instead. You can build a strong point with several amplifiers, skill required, surrounding a single tower, giving a huge range bonus. Okay, hold off on that for a second. Let's look at this new gem type. Suppressing gem. I'm going to just stick it here. Damage 6 to 24, so that is also an average of 15. I believe the DPS on this one is... Nope, let me look at my chart that I made because I have nothing better to do with my life. 9.45 DPS. That's pretty good. So the special ability on this one is an interesting one. It's going to suppress healing by 13 HP a minute. Now remember, enemies have HP regen. So in this first wave, with 11 hit points, the regen's probably going to be 30. Somewhere around there. Which means every minute the enemy regains 30 HP. So in a minute it's always going to regain all its HP is what's going to happen here. Every 2 seconds or so it regains 1 HP, right? Well, if we hit it with this gem, that regen goes down by 13 for every shot, and the regen loss is permanent. So if I hit with 1 bullet, the enemy will go from 30 regen to 17. 17 per minute. If I hit with 2 bullets, it's down to 4, and if I hit with 3 bullets, the enemy has 0 regen forever, which is pretty good if you're dealing with enemies that you just can't whittle their HP down because they recover it faster than you can hurt them. That's not going to happen this early in the game. These guys can just permanently reduce that regen. Don't have to worry about it. Now, 13 HP a minute is really pathetic, but something interesting about cyan gems compared to the others is that the special ability increases faster than any other ability. Normally, it's derived, from the first grade gem, and then it's increased by like 70 or 80% with each level. This one goes up by more than double. So at low levels, these gems are basically worthless. At higher levels, the suppressing ability is overpowered. It's just an OP gem for that. Although it's pretty situational when you want to use it, because you might just be strong enough that you don't care about regen, you're one-hitting the monsters anyway. Whatever, that's the gem here. Let's talk about the amplifiers here. So we place gems in it to amplify the gems in adjacent towers. I'm not gonna do this here. I'm actually gonna move this gem over here and place a tower right there, because come on, the game is asking us to do this. Now let's place a gem here. Oh, there's a gem down here. It's really easy to miss. I'm going to place that here. Cool. Let's start and yap while we go. So let's look at what this gem is going to do. So look at the stats and watch what happens in just a second. They go up. The reason is, in the amplifier, the gem is going to send over 20% of its base damage, so 10 to 24. The 20% of that is 2 to 5 or 2 to 4, something like that. It's going to send over 15% of the non-bound specials. Again, all the gems we've seen are non-bound, so it's just going to send over 15% of the 14% slower for 2 seconds. And it's going to send 10% over of the range and firing speed. So the range here is much higher than anything should be at this level. The shots per second is higher. And the damage is, it's a little bit higher. Definitely higher than any grade 1 gem we can see. And then the slowing ability is a little better. Not much better, but a little. Let's fill out these amplifiers and see what happens to this gem now. Let's get a little bit A little more, a little more, a little more. 18 to 43 for one single gem. Range of 6.3. That's crazy. 0.87 shots per second. The DPS on this is close to 25, I think. Just spitballing it, that's what that's going to be. And it's 20% slower. Come on, man, that's great. Let's make some more gems here. These ones aren't going to be amplified by as much because they're only next to 2 amplifiers instead of 4. It's going to calculate amplifiers in all 8 directions. It's not just orthogonal. So, yeah. Here we go. These are really good gems. This will get us through quite a bit of these enemies. Even though they have like 14 armor, look how much damage they do. We're fine. We're fine. Let's amplify these. And I'm going to choose an armor-tearing gem to amplify this. Because it's sending over the special ability. It's only going to send over the armor-tearing ability. The cyan gem doesn't have that, so it's not going to receive any special. But this is. And this is a better gem. So that's why we're doing that. Now, I want this to be my kill zone, so to speak. This is where the enemies go to die. Let's actually upgrade this guy to level 2. 25 to 58. Yeah, I think I like that. This is not so much the kill zone. This is where we reduce enemy regen and armor. But they're targeting the nearest to orb, meaning they're going to focus all their shots on one enemy until that enemy is dead. That's not going to be as good for me. I want these guys to target more randomly, or at least spread their shots out more. So to do that, we're going to right-click on this gem. Instead of saying nearest to orb, swarmlings, giants, we're going to say random for this gem. So if a bunch of enemies are going by, I want them to randomly target so that multiple enemies lose regen rather than one enemy losing regen and everyone else having full regen. Over here, I want to target structure, no, special, shielded, highest armor. I want this guy to basically hit everyone once and then let him through so that these gems can kill them with less armor. That's the idea. Cool. These ones I still want to target nearest to orb. Let's upgrade. And this, I think, is enough to run me through the end of the level. Let's also talk about this monster nest. So monster nest is going to drop enemies out. I don't remember offhand if that means there's more monsters per wave or if it splits up the monsters in every wave between the two zones. But whatever the case, I can build something here. I'm going to duplicate this gem. I'm going to have it target the structure. So it's not going to hit the enemies going by. It's going to target this building and eventually destroy it. It has 200 armor, but this is armor tearing. It's going to remove the armor from the building. Once this is destroyed, I'm going to gain 95 XP, which is pretty good. I can also upgrade the gems in the amplifiers, and that's going to make these even stronger. So let's actually do that. Let's upgrade everything to level 2 here. I'm spreading it out a bit so I don't have all 4 gems on cooldown. Because every time you put a gem in a tower or an amplifier or a trap, or every time you upgrade a gem, there's that period of time before the gem is socketed where it doesn't do anything. So now, yeah, 30 to 71, so an average of 50. 1 shot a second, DPS of 50. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. These guys are not going to stop us. How about this? That's still standing. Tell you what, let's drop a gem bomb on it. So let's make a gem. Let's either click here or press B. Drop it. Does a little bit of extra damage. Didn't do a whole lot because the armor's still really high. I can also drop gem bombs on enemies. It does, of course, cost because I spent 60 to make this gem. So I am throwing away 60 mana. But I can drop it. Boom. When I do that, let's press B and hold over this. See, gem bomb, it spreads 96 damage evenly on targets. So if I hit multiple targets, it doesn't do much damage. But it releases 2 gem wasps. You know what? Let's go into endurance mode. I'll show you what a gem wasp does. That achievement here. This is why I didn't go past grade 2 gems right now. Is get an achievement for doing that. Just on this level, not on every level. Cool. Let's jump into endurance mode. So if I were to drop this, it's going to release 2 gem wasps. Gem wasps are just little guys that hang out on the battlefield. And if an enemy gets nearby, the wasps will attack. They're not going to do a lot of damage, but they will apply the special, so the armor tearing is happening there as well. Alright, let's do this. I can also press B, hold shift, and now I can indiscriminately bomb like this. It's using this, so it's costing me 60 mana every time I do that. But, hey, it's fun. So if you ever need to do a lot of gem bombs at once, just boom, 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 boom. Right? I'm wasting mana there. Shouldn't be doing that. So I destroyed the monster nest, so I get a bunch of XP. I don't get the achievement for it. There should be an achievement, but since I'm in endurance mode, I don't get it. We'll have plenty of opportunities to do that later. Here, goodbye. That didn't do any damage because it was spread out over 4 guys. How much would it do at level 2? Let me upgrade this. A gem bomb here does 300 damage spread out over multiple targets. Yeah. So it'll kill that guy, but that's it. Cool. Let's run it till we die. We're gonna die soon. Yeah, this is... But I squeezed a bit of XP out of it, which is important. Another couple hundred. Nice. What level are we at now? 7? 69. Nice. So basically, not quite. A little less than double what we started with. I'll get rid of that. Okay, it's time to talk about skills. Let's go into here. Every time you level up, you get 7 skill points. You can spend skill points to upgrade your skills, give you various battle bonuses. Unspent skill points give you initial mana, so it's not always worth spending your skill points. Decide wisely. Okay. Here are our skills. Most of these are blank. We will gain them over the course of the game. We start with these 3. If we click here to learn the skill, we're going to put 1 skill point into it to bring it to level 1. But the thing is, the amount of skill points we spend is equal to the level we're bringing it to. So at level 1, this costs 1 skill point. At level 2, it costs 3 skill points because it costs 2 to bring it to level 2, and we've already spent 1. I probably could have explained that better. It's 1 skill point for level 1, 2 skill points for level 2, 3 for level 3, 4 for level 4, but those compound. So it's really 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21. So it gets rather expensive after a while. We also look down here to see our total skill points. Our wizard level gives us 7 per level. So we're at level 7, so we get 49 skill points from that. We also get 15 skill points from our achievements. But if we don't spend our skill points, we get initial mana. So we start every level with the 360, I believe, is the base, plus this 448, plus our talisman fragment giving us a little bit of extra mana. That's kind of nice. I don't want to spend all my skill points because I want to have some base mana, because if I don't, it's nice that I have these battle skills, but I can't do anything because I start the level with so little mana. Let's reset that. I can also add a permanent skill point by spending shadow cores. The shadow core cost is very high. This would not be happening till very, very late in the game. So let's not worry about that. Let's just make sure that we give our skills a few points while leaving enough mana here that we can start our level strong. So I think I'm going to try to keep my skill points around 50 to start. I'm probably going to go a little under 50 right now, but I just don't want to spend them all. And let's look at what these skills are. Mana Stream, Fusion, and Masonry. All 3 of these skills are directly related to the mana we spend and or gain. So you can kind of think of them as being mana investments because we gain mana by using the skill. So what is our return of investment on this skill? Because I could just bump this up to level 10, but is that worth it? Is it worth it to gain that much extra mana because we start with so little? Is the mana gain going to be larger than the mana cost? So let's analyze this with another one of these autistic deep dives. So Mana Stream, at the first level, we get 4% extra mana per monster kill. So how much is that? Well, the first wave is always 24 mana. 4% increase is about 1. So 1 mana per monster. You could ballpark it and say, all right, let's just say there's 1 mana per monster and a level's going to have about 100 monsters. That's a ballpark figure. Or you can look at my charts. You can't because I'm not sharing them with you because you're not special. The first level only is 36 enemies, but after that, a minimum of 100. The highest is 300 in one of the levels. We haven't seen that level yet. But level 2 has 103, level 3 is 122, level 5, which we just did, is 145. So if we only got 1 extra mana from that, that's 145 mana. We spent 1 skill point, which is worth 7 mana. So we spent 7 mana to gain 100. I can also look at it as the total amount of mana. So in F5, there's 145 enemies, but the mana total from the base level, without going to mana pool levels, whatever like that. If I'm at mana pool level 1, and I defeat every enemy without getting any bonuses, I would gain 4,477 mana. Now with this bonus, I add 4% to that. 4% of that is roughly 175 to 180. I'm just doing the math in my head. So 180 mana, let's say, for a 7 mana cost. That sounds worth it to me, don't you think? Now that is mana gained over the course of the entire level, so that 180 doesn't happen until the final monster's defeated. So really, if I were to just ballpark it and say, I'm getting half of that mana early on. Actually, half of the mana probably comes in about 2/3 of the way through the level. But still, half of that is 90. 90 over 7, 90 it's worth it. I'm going to get a little bit of extra mana. The cost is okay. It's okay that I start with 7 less, right? Am I going too deep into... I'm probably going too deep into this, but you're already watching it. You're already screwed. So let's go to the next level here. That gives us 8% mana per monster kill. So just double what we made there. So in that level F5, we would have made more like 350 to 360 mana extra for a cost of 3 skill points from here, which is 21 mana. 21 mana up front to gain 350 mana over the course of the level, or about half of that early on. Again, I would say that's worth it to do. Now notice when we go to the next skill level, it's saying there's going to be an additional ability here. Every skill has 2 abilities, a primary and a secondary. The primary one here goes up every level. The secondary one goes up every 3 levels. So sometimes it's worth it to push an ability by 3 every time. So let's go to level 3 and see what that ability is. So it's 12% mana per monster kill. So again, so now it's just 500 mana or whatever every time we play a level. But it's also 4% lower mana pool milestones. So if you recall, our mana pool level 2 was unlocked by getting 1200 mana. Now it's going to be 1152 mana. It's not much lower, but it's a little bit. And it's good because the sooner we get to higher mana pool levels, the faster we gain that mana. And the mana pool, I think at mana pool level 2, it's a 1.04 multiplier to the mana on top of this 12% monster kill. So at mana level 2, it's 1.12 multiplier and then a 1.04 multiplier on top of that. So getting to higher mana pool levels is good, and we want to do that quickly. So this ability really compounds past level 3. Definitely worth it, and I've spent 6 skill points total, 1 plus 2 plus 3. That's 42 mana. I think losing 42 mana is okay to gain as much as we're going to get 500, 600 mana just from this. It's good. The next skill is Fusion. This one is all about cutting the cost of gems. It says first grade gem cost, but remember that all other costs are derived from that first grade gem. So if I go to here, it's 1.5% reduction. Gems normally cost 60, so that's minus 0.9. The game is going to be nice and round that down. I have, of course, obsessively created a chart for how much this is going to change. So at, Fusion level 1, a grade 1 gem is going to cost 59. Cool. We saved 1 mana per gem we make, and we've spent 7 mana. So we'd have to create 7 grade 1 gems to break even. Oftentimes I create the gems early on in the level, so it's okay to lose the mana up front because I'm spending that initial mana anyway. 7 grade 1 gems is a lot, but consider that the savings compounds on higher grade gems. So making a grade 2 gem, it's 2x plus y, where x is the cost of the previous grade gem and y is the cost of combination. Now the cost of the gem is 59 instead of 60. A grade 2 gem costs 238 for a savings of 2. Still pretty low. I can also think of it as 2x plus y, where x is the savings of the previous grade's gem plus the savings on the combination, and y is 0 and x is 1, so 2x plus y is 2, so I saved 2 on a grade 2 gem. Overdoing the math here. Grade 3 gem, just double that, it's a savings of 4, a savings of 8 on a grade 4 gem, a savings of 16 on a grade 5 gem, you get the idea. It just doubles with every grade. So if I make 4 grade 2 gems, I would make back my mana cost here, and 4 grade 2 gems is pretty common. I'm going to make that. It's going to happen. Now if I go to the next level, it's now a 3% reduction, so it's going to cost me 58 for every grade 1 gem. So savings of 2. Every grade 2 gem is a savings of 4. Every grade 3 gem is a savings of 8. I've spent 21 mana to get here, so I do have to make quite a few gems, but that's fine. Now if I go to level 3, this is where this starts to really shine. The gem combination cost also goes down. So at this level, grade 1 gem is going to cost 57, a savings of 3, and the combination cost is 116, which is a savings of 4. So if we add those savings up, 2x plus y, where savings of the first grade gem is 3, 3 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. A grade 2 gem saves me 10 mana. This cost 42 mana to get here, so 5 grade 3 gems is going to save me. That sounds like a lot of gems, but trust me, we're going to hit that. We're going to be hitting that pretty quickly. So this is worth doing. Because the secondary ability of fusion is so powerful, I like to increase this one by 3s every time I can. So I don't want to just increase to level 4 because it's not much of a savings from here. I would rather go to level 6 because that increases the secondary ability. I'm not going to do that now because it's a lot of skill points. I want to keep it up, keep my mana up right now. But this is going to save me quite a bit over the course of a level, and it's going to save me up front lots of mana. Finally, let's look at masonry. This one's all about building cost. So 8% decrease to building cost. So right now, towers start at 150. So the first tower is now going to start at 138. It's going to drop by 12. So I spent 7 mana to get here. Building one tower cost me 138, saves me 12. I save 5 mana just by building one tower. That's a pretty small amount, but one tower is all I need, and I tend to build towers right at the start of a level, so even though I lose mana at the start, I immediately get that savings back by doing this. And that cost is just to the first building, but the way that the game derives the cost of the next building is it just adds 30 to the tower. So the next tower, instead of being 180, would be 168. So that also saves me 12 mana there. So every tower I build is 12 mana cheaper. So building 2 towers, I save 24 mana. Building 3, I save 36. Something like that. Level 2, I just double that. First tower is 126, so I save 24 mana with 1 tower. This cost me 21 mana to do, right? So like I'm still saving mana. At level 3, we get our secondary ability, 5% faster gem socketing. So that's when you put a gem in a tower and have to wait for it before it's ready. That's the socketing. It's going to go a little faster. Honestly, I don't really hinge any strategies on the speed of the gem socketing, so I'm not really caring if this ability is divisible by 3. I'm just going to increase it when I want buildings to be cheaper. 24% cheaper is a really good start. So the first tower should be 114, savings of 36. That's a lot. Now I spent 42 mana to get here, so building 2 towers is enough to completely nullify the cost of the mana there. And I might do that early on. I might build 2 towers. I might wait a little bit to build a second tower, but it's going to happen. There's going to be towers built. Also walls, didn't even think of that. Walls start off costing 20. Now they're going to be worth 15. So I save 5 mana on every wall. So I think in the next level I'm going to build some walls, maybe not so much in the towers area, but I don't need this to be super high, right? Like if it's up this high, like yeah, I save a lot in towers, but I'm not building that many, so I might not be saving a lot of mana here, and I start with a pathetic amount. So I'm going to keep this down at 3. Probably not going to upgrade this for a while, but these 2 I'm going to really focus on because I really want my gems to be cheap, and I really want to make a lot of mana. That's that. So anyway, now that we're all completely overdone, just completely over the skills, we're done with this. Let's move on to actually playing the freaking game. And I'm going to go on to field F6. You'll notice the shape is slightly different. These have 3 circle holes. These have 3, like, I don't know, claw shape holes. That's because this is a tomb chamber location. It's a special type of level. Let's see what this has for us. Let me actually open up on my field data, F6. 144 enemies, 4,406 mana. Okay. Open tomb chambers to obtain skills. Every chamber demands a given amount and type of monsters to be killed in its close range. So here, kill 40 monsters within the range of 7. So the number, the type of monster, and the range is all different for different levels. This is going to be rather easy. There's a total of 144 monsters in this level. I think I can kill 40 of them here. In fact, if I make this the kill zone, I'll kill all of them here. I don't care. So I'm going to force monsters here. Now, they want to take the shortest path, but they're going to kind of like curve around this way. So they will be outside the range of here. So I'm going to build walls here. 5 walls. I've saved 25 mana just by doing that. Now all the monsters have to come through this hallway. Let's put another one there. And now let's build our poison traps. Let's duplicate that. Level 1 is enough. 14, 28 poison damage. These guys are going down. Then let's put some in here. I don't care. This suppressing gem is a waste of my time in this level. Let's do a mix of poison and chain. A little bit of extra poison damage doesn't hurt, but the chain hit means it's going to hit multiple monsters. I can duplicate this. It only costs 230. See, if I had not done the fusion skill, this would have cost more, this would have cost more, this would cost more. I might not have had enough mana in here, especially with the cost of the walls. I might have actually not had enough to create all of this. This is enough to get me through a large portion of this level. Is that all? I think that is all. We can get started. We're going to wait. It's going to be a long walk. Let's send the next wave and the next wave. And here they are. Now they're here. They're going to die here. The monsters are going to open our tome chamber for us. Let's see. Once I get enough, it only costs 114 for that first tower. We're going to build the tower right here. Nope, it can't. Oh, that's because the tree's in the way. We're going to build it right here. And we're going to duplicate this gem. 3 gems ought to make sure no one gets through. Let's send another wave. Yeah. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to build yet another tower. Here, another gem. We can probably get by with level 2 gems. Don't need to worry about it. Kill 12 monsters with gems and traps. Great. We're also going to build walls here. So once monsters get through, they can't just coast to the orb. They have to cut through here. And there we go. Tome chamber's opened. Something else we can do that I mentioned in the very, very first level, but we've never examined, is what's called enraging the wave. So you see here, if we drop a gem bomb on this wavestone, it enrages the wave. So let me make a thing. If I drop it on here, select a gem will give me 4 new extra monsters. The monsters will have higher HP and armor. Doing this essentially is going to give me more XP and mana. The monsters are worth the same amount of mana and XP, but there's more of them, and so I will have more in the mana pool. So enraging waves is a good way to get higher XP on every level. So you know what? Let's put this here. Press B, hold shift. So we have our indiscriminate bombing, and we're going to indiscriminately bomb all of these. Now, it makes this last wave tougher. We've got 8 extra armor, 41 armor. These guys really aren't going to do a lot of damage. Well, they're not going to do any damage. But if we up the potency of these traps, 26 poison damage from the trap, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be able to survive that. Another thing we can do is drop a gem bomb on here. Dropping a gem bomb in the orb decreases the banishment cost. Now, it cost me essentially 60 mana, or not really 60, it cost 57 mana to do that, because that's the cost of the gem. But if we were to banish a lot of monsters, we might end up saving more than 57 mana. Not in this level, we might not have any banishment at all. But that's something you can do if you expect to have a decent amount of monsters being banished by your orb in the level. That will make sure you lose less mana doing so. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Good amount of multipliers. Alright, let's just run this. We're good. A few of them probably get through. Yeah, a few of them get through because they didn't get hit by the poison traps. But here, let's look at the mana spent on banishment, 560. Figuring out how much we would have spent is interesting. But definitely, we probably haven't saved 50, so we probably saved more like 20 to 25 mana so far. But I only did that to demonstrate. It wasn't really that necessary. Ooh, some more lore. A tome chamber. There are many of such chambers laying around in the wilderness, hiding skill tomes, designed to open only to those who prove their power. I should try to open every chamber I meet. I will need all the skills I can gather. That is true. And we got a traps skill tome. So now we have a new skill for our skills panel. Let's just run this and clear any more XP we can. That's a pretty good amount of XP we just pulled up. And of course we have our XP multipliers from this, so it's actually really good. Okay, we're going to die soon. That's fine. Cool. Alright, wizard level 9. 80 per minute. Skills will be good. Let's get rid of that. Alright, so the new skill is the trap skill. So from now on, we can build traps in any level. We're not stuck with the ones the game gives us at the start. We don't need to add points to the skill to build traps. We can just build them anyway. But this trap skill gives us extra specials multiplier bonus for gems and traps, which is pretty good. So I'm going to put this in here. Now traps give us 85% for specials, because remember they give us an 80% bonus at the start. An additional 5 means 85. 90, 95, and the secondary ability is 3% trap firing speed. Traps also fire 20% faster, so now it's 23% faster. To be honest, I don't really notice the trap firing speed, especially at low levels, so I'm not necessarily planning to put skill points in this to make a multiple of 3 to get the next level of the secondary ability. It's all about the specials multiplier, and to make it an even 100%, I'm going to put 4 levels into this. That's 10 skill points. This cost me 70 mana. Now, as far as return of investment goes, will I make 70 mana off of this? No, because this is not a skill that is directly involved in creating mana, but it makes traps better, which makes it easier to get through levels. So, you know, sometimes I'm thinking about putting points into the skill just because I need more firepower. I'm going to leave these where they are. I'm at about 50 skill points here, which is good. So I'm going to start every level with roughly 700 mana, which I like doing. And let's finally move on to field F4. So this one is a square shape because it's a wizard tower location. Wizard tower locations are something of a special challenge. Let's head on in and see what we mean. I mean, this one's easy, but later ones aren't so much. The wizard tower will destroy your orb unless you disable all the locks. The locks can be destroyed with tower shots. Place gems and towers around the locks to fire at them. So yeah, if the final wave starts and I still have wizard locks on the field, these are the 2 locks, orb is destroyed instantly. I just lose. Now I got 16 waves to do this, and these don't take a lot of shots, so we'll be fine. The first thing I'm going to do, though, I'm not going to destroy these locks with these gems. I'm going to build traps. So traps are up here. The hotkey is R. The traps would cost 150, just like towers, but I have the masonry skill, so it's a lot cheaper. We're going to build a trap there. Next one is 138. It goes up by 24 rather than by 30, so traps end up cheaper than towers. We're going to build 2 traps. We're going to place the gems in there. Now notice this has 2.82 per hit. 5.64 per hit, 100% increase. So these 2 are going to wear away 10 armor from every enemy, provided every enemy gets hit. So they start with 12 armor, not anymore, it's 2 armor. That's why I wanted to wait till now to do this level, because I wanted the armor gems for the traps, so I could just whittle away a big chunk of armor immediately, because this is going to get out of hand. Like, there's 10 more waves to go. The final waves are going to have like 50 armor. So rather than try to make a lot of expensive gems with a really high damage value, I want to get rid of the armor so that the low-level gems can kill them. In fact, special challenge. I bet I can beat this level with no higher than grade 2. I bet I can do it. So first things first, I'm going to make a dual gem. Purple and orange, because those are good ones to have. The yellow, early game, really not super useful. Critical hit is much more useful later. Whereas armor tearing is useful immediately. Mana, again, gets better later, but it's nice to have a little bit extra mana. But making the dual gem gives us higher raw damage output. We're going to put that there. So any armor that isn't stripped from here will be stripped from this gem. And then just in case, well actually not just in case, but we want a gem to start attacking this here. And as soon as I get enough for another tower, I'm going to build one here and put a gem to destroy this one. All right. Yeah, so much less armor. Much less armor. I like that. Although I think it's more important. Well, if enemies get past, this gem will stop targeting here because its priority is nearest to orb. But first, I think what I want is to put a gem here, and I'm going to build a couple walls to make sure enemies have to take the long way. Build a tower now. Not quite ready to duplicate. There. Here we go. These towers are going to go down. Let's put walls here as well. So what this is going to do is it's going to force enemies to take the longest possible path through the trap, increases the likelihood that the trap hits them. This is about to go. Let's get... Let's get more mana on the board before we do anything else. Armor. We're going to start running into armor issues. Let's move this over here. Just more likely that it's going to get some hits in, because enemies, rather than wait till they're all the way over here. I'm going to build another trap here. No, here. Here, let's do it right there. And then, yeah, enemies are going to have to take a long road through. Duplicate this. 3 armor tearing gems at 5.6. So it's going to tear away 16 armor if an enemy gets hit with these. So that's a good amount of armor to remove. Like, look at that. 44 armor. I want that to not be so high. Now, these gems do remove more armor from enemies, but not as much. So let's build... let's just duplicate this. Let's build another tower here and duplicate that. I mean, I could just make 1 monster gem and defeat this level, but it is possible to beat with only grade 2 gems. This is how you do it. You have to prioritize getting the armor off of them. That's all. Critical hit does not matter for this strategy. All you need is to get the armor off them, and I'm only making dual gems so that the damage output is higher. That is it. Okay, so let's get to the next mana pool level. I have forgotten entirely to do that. That's good. That's going to give us more XP and mana. Let's get to the next level. Will I make it? Level 3. There we go. Level 3 mana pool. So we have a higher multiplier. Let's duplicate this, this, and that. Now we want a ton of gems right here. There we go. This takes care. And then what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to build this so I can indiscriminately gem bomb anyone who gets through. I have a feeling I'm going to use that quite a lot. Hoo boy. Yeah, these guys are pushing through. So what I can do there. Pause. Look over here. Swarmlings. That's our second type of enemy. Swarmlings tend to have, well, low hit points. Armor level tends to be lower than the Reavers around it, but not always. They're faster, and there's a lot of them. So Swarmlings tend to overwhelm you. At least the banishment cost is low, but that's all. Anyway, oops, hold on. Let's see. This one. Oops. There. Okay. There. 1. Oops. Missed. There. Cool. That was a waste of mana. This is how you do it in this particular level. If you want to win with just this. Let's make another trap here. Alright, so it's supposed to be removing about 20 armor. So we'll see. But the Swarmlings are just going to overwhelm us with sheer numbers. So that's what they're here for. But I have a lot of gems on the field, so I think we're good there. I should probably also mention banishment cost doesn't go up with our mana stream ability. So when we use the mana stream skill, the mana gained from enemies goes up, but not banishment cost. So banishment should be double. You see the mana gain per kill here is 14, but the banishment's 23. The banishment is based on double the base mana rate. So increasing our mana stream also makes banishment less expensive per monster. Just another thing to consider. There we go. Will it kill? It's such a waste of mana to do this. But I am dedicated to beating this level with only grade 2 gems. This is also going to give me a ton of, achievements. Yeah, these guys have how much? They have a lot of armor. It's going to take a lot to whittle that down. These guys also have a lot of armor, but hopefully walking over these traps is going to make them kind of an afterthought. Alright, who's going to get through? No one's going to get through. Goodbye. Goodbye. Ah, die. Die! Okay. Ordinarily, I do not suggest doing this. It's usually cheaper to just make one gem that's very strong, so you don't have to constantly bomb. It's only doing 96 damage, too. It's not a lot. But the Gem Wasps and the Gem Bomb also... Well, the Gem Wasps will also take away armor, because the Gem Wasps do the special ability. They're overrunning me here. So if I set up a bunch of this, these Gem Wasps will tear away the armor from these Swarmlings. I mean, I have a lot of mana. I can just indiscriminately do that. There we go. Beat the level with only grade 2. So that is not a strategy that I normally suggest doing. But that was just my little self-imposed challenge, because that's one of the harder levels in this first world. And so if I can beat it with low-level gems, it just feels good. A long-abandoned tower of a fellow wizard. After the summoning of the Forgotten and the demonic outbreak that followed, most of the wizards fell back to the Spirit Forge. In a hurry, they only had time to add locks to guard their towers from monsters and demons. Cool. Bunch of achievements, a lot of them related to gem bombing. We get a battle trait scroll. So skills help us make us stronger, make the game easier. Battle traits make us weaker or make the enemies stronger, make the game harder. But we don't have to use them if we don't want to. We get map hextiles, so this is how we unlock more parts of the map as we beat levels with wizard towers. And there's that. Let's just run endurance mode to farm as much XP as possible. Probably not any XP. No, we got a little bit. It's not a complete waste. Alright, that should level us up quite a bit too. There we go. Level 12. Let's look at our skills again. 83. I still want to keep it above 50, but let's start putting into another thing. Let's put into Mana Stream a bit. I don't need it to go all the way to level 6, because it's good even without hitting the next secondary trait milestone. So let's get a little bit more mana. This would be, a 16% increase. The next level we're about to go to has quite a lot of XP in it. The next level has 8,500 XP at baseline, so 16% increase on top of that. That's going to give me about 10,000 mana. Let's see, what else? Traps are at a good level here. Let's also make these a little cheaper. So now with fusion at this level, I can just consult my chart I made rather than do the math in my head. I'm going to save, grade 1 gem is 56. So if I save 4 per gem, I save 4 on combination. So a grade 2 gem is 12 less. A grade 3 gem is 28 less. That's pretty good. Let's just do one more into Mana Stream. One more, that 20% increase is good. And let's leave it there. And let's do the final level in this tutorial world. This is putting everything together. But now when we try to go into level, we have this screen first. Make your battles more challenging, more rewarding with battle traits. Traits give huge XP multipliers, as well as better chance for rarer talisman fragments. Each level of each trait adds a monster wave, and more traits can be found hidden in wizard towers. So Haste is the first trait we get. I'm going to be honest, this is an easy trait to deal with. Haste is not a problem. 7% faster wave stones. Come on, the wave stones are already moving really slow. However, with every increase, we get a new wave. So let's say we go back to here. This is a 3-wave level. If I up this to the maximum, which is 7, 49% faster wave stones is not a big deal. 7 extra waves is, because now this level has 10 waves. So the enemies will be a lot stronger. So we want to be careful that we don't overload ourselves, because where the difficulty really comes in is late waves. I can handle 16 waves easily. I don't know if I can handle 23 waves quite so easily. It's probably not that big a deal, but I'm going to start at a lower level for haste and sort of work my way up as I see fit. So I'm going to start at 2. I'm going to add 2 waves. There's only going to be 18 waves here, because it's going to add 60% to my multiplier here, times 1.6 to the XP. That's really good. It also increases the drop rarity. No, it doesn't. This one was already 1 to 21. I'd have to go up really high before the drop rarity goes up. That's all right. I'm not too worried about that now. But when we get more of these traits, we can add a lot higher difficulty, really high XP multiplier, good drop rarities, that kind of stuff. Talisman fragments really aren't a big deal yet. I also haven't seen very many of them. That's very odd. I normally would have seen a lot more of these. Duplicate, upgrade, combine. We've already seen that. All right, one long path. I see an amplifier here, so I think I want to make the kill zone here. But on the way, I would like to do some other stuff. Let's see. 20% extra mana is good. First, I'm going to build a trap here. And in that trap, I'm going to put a suppressing gem. Because the trap is going to wildly increase the special ability. Look at that, 27 per minute. But let's look at when we go to level 2. So it's 13 HP per minute now. When we upgrade this, it's 38. That's almost 3 times as good. This is 76 HP per minute. None of the enemies in this level are going to have that. Let me actually double check because I have field data for this. The highest we get for regen is 57. So if a monster is hit once by this trap, it will never recover any HP. So I want that. Hold on, I'm in the wrong thing. Let's build walls around here. And then let's put a gem, a dual gem. I don't care about the abilities so much as the damage boost here. Feels like the range is terrible, but that's okay. So this will get us started. I'm going to also build a tower over here and duplicate this gem. There. It's alright if a couple guys get through. We have a second gem to take care of them. And he's not recovering HP, so I don't have to worry about, oh, he's going to get all that HP back I just took off of him. He's done. Alright, let's duplicate for the amplifier and then get ready to duplicate this gem as well. I want a ton of gems around this amplifier. That's what I want. So yeah, it's not a huge bonus here. Yeah, but it's enough. I'm not going to stick to grade 2 in this level. I'm going to go higher than that. I'm going to go up to grade 3 in this level. So that's where I'm going to limit myself. I could go up even higher than that, but I'm going to say grade 3 is where we're topping out for this level and see what we get. Send the next wave. Let's build... let's actually upgrade these to level 3 now, just so we have it, and then start making more gems. Grade 3 costs 572. That's a savings of 28 every time. If I'm at level 4 for fusion, I spent 70 mana, so like 3 of these gems, I get my mana back. So it's totally worth it. I'm going to make a lot of these gems. Duplicate. There we go. It was risky because I'm low on mana. I don't want to be low on mana at any point. Let's upgrade this one. It costs 344 instead of 360, I think. Alright, and I'm going to want even more towers. I can also upgrade the one in the amplifier, but I kind of want to wait till there's nobody coming through. Right? I want to wait till around now, because otherwise these guys aren't getting the amplifier bonus while he's upgrading. So let's do that. Cool. Let's get to our next mana pool level before we do anything. Oh, hold on. This is new. This is a spark. Sparks can appear in these waves. This is actually helpful to me when a spark comes through. Mana cost is cut in all building types, so it's going to decrease this by 20%, so, you know, about 40 less. And that's going to be 20% across the whole thing, because when I go up to the next level, or the next tower would be, instead of 234, it'd be like 214 or so. So this is a good one to see. We can also enrage, quote unquote, a spark, like we would on here. Drop gem bomb to heat the spark. So let me make one here. Drop it. This, it's not going to do much, but we can actually make these even better for us as we go through. So now, yeah, 163. So we really reduced the cost of the towers, which is good because I'm going to want to build a bunch more towers here. But let's wait till the next mana pool level. Level 3. Do we wait till level 4? You know, let's wait till level 4. I'm going to make it. There we go. Now 2 towers. Duplicate, duplicate. There we go. Let's also upgrade you, because level 2 gem is pathetic here. I think this will get us through the level just fine. 87 damage. These guys have a fair bit of armor, but not a lot of HP. And there's a lot of shots being fired, and eventually the critical hit is going to break through. Another thing I can do is I can put a trap here. Very, very cheap trap. Put a slowing gem in there of grade 3, and it gets 18% slower for 4 seconds. The thing about slowing gems and traps, which is interesting, is that the slow percentage doesn't actually increase. A slowing gem of grade 3 outside of the trap also slows target for 18%. It's just it only does it for 2 seconds. So increasing the grade of the gem increases the slow power. The trap increases the time that it's slowed. So I want this to be slower, so it's going to take more shots from these gems. And of course, they have no HP regen, so they're sitting ducks over here. Let's go next mana level. That's good. Mana level 5. And let's build another tower. Let's do it. Let's just overkill. No one's getting through that alive. I think this will be fine. We'll see. Oh, they're getting through it alive. They're getting through it alive. What do we do? No. In this case, I mean, I have a lot of mana. I can just let them be banished. Right? This is actually not a great strategy normally. It's good for getting these unlocks here, the achievements. But normally this is a bad idea. Look, I'm losing mana here. But I'm not going to lose so much that I'm going to die. Because I am still killing some of them as we go through. So ordinarily I do not recommend doing that. But I had enough to tank that. I didn't have to worry about it. A bunch of this. Let's go to endurance mode and just pick up as much XP as we can. Even if we only get like 100 extra, that's fine. It's something. It's still too early in the game for endurance mode to really be worth doing anything with. It looks like it. They're way too strong anyway. Yeah, we're going to die. We're going to die. Okay. Back to the map. So we didn't get anything for that level. It was just a level to do. But it gives us extra wizard level, which is good. 110 per minute, so, you know, about 3 times what we started with. How many achievements? 31? That's a good amount. So skills-wise, look at where we are, 97. So I still want to keep it above 50, but I actually eventually want to keep my skill points around 100, because that's 700 mana here. That means we start every level with about 1,000 mana. But I'm gonna put a point into. I'm gonna put one more into Mana Stream now. 24% extra and an 8% lower mana pool milestone. So it's 1104, I think, for the first upgrade. Let me look. I actually wrote down mana pool upgrades, at least the early ones. I haven't written down like super high levels. If I'm at Mana Stream level 6, going to level 2 is going to be 1104 mana. So that's, of course, faster. And I'm going to start every level with close to 1,000. So if I were to start a level and do nothing, I would get to mana pool level 2 very quickly. Actually, what's even better is eventually I'll have enough skill points / high enough level here that I start every level at mana pool 2 rather than 1. That's another thing you kind of want to do, is start levels at high mana pool. Of course, if I increase this, I spend all these skill points and I don't start with enough mana, so I actually just have to wait till this skill point level is really high before this goes up any further. So I think I'm going to stop at level 6 here. Here, I'm going to go to level 5, and then I'm going to hold off. 600 extra mana is good. Because at level 5 here, I'm saving 5 per gem and 4 per... So I'm saving 14 for every grade 2 gem. And then I'm going to save 32 for every grade 3 gem. That's pretty good. Spending 15 skill points, of course, but that's fine. That's where we'll leave these skills for now. That is all for Hextile F. There's no more levels here. So in the next video, we're going to move on to, I think it's going to be this one here, but we're going to move on to some new levels. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully that was super engaging. You like just hearing, essentially reciting Excel spreadsheets. But yeah, I've been Key of W. You've been whoever you are. You know the normal sort of outro. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye.